I was really surprised by the violence in the show, actually.
Yeah.
Because the Terminator movies themselves, I guess you would consider them violence, but they're not like gory. But I'm not sure about the more recent ones because
I've seen all of them, Tavi. They're weak.
You've seen all
weak
of
as
them.
piss, Tavi. They get weaker with every iteration. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with a H. With me, as always, is my co-host, Tavi. Hi, Tavi.
Hello.
What's up?
Yeah, not that much, man. Pretty tired. Just did a bunch of stuff today. Getting my ass kicked at Black Myth Wukong and...
Are you still playing that?
Yeah, man, I nearly finished it. It's a really good game, man.
Yeah.
It's very artistic. A lot more artistic than I had anticipated at first.
Seems like you've been getting a lot of hours out of it.
Yeah, I think I'm clocking in at like 50 at the moment. Yeah, pretty easy to play. Not as hard as a Souls game, but still challenging enough, but relaxing enough to play and then listen to some brainless podcast stuff as well. Us.
Yeah, okay. Wow, uncalled for.
Nah, we're not that brainless. We're all right.
Yeah, we're all right.
We're all right.
We've got an all right episode lined up today, Darby.
That's what's going to get the views in.
Mediocre.
We're both at our like lowest energy point because it's like 4 or 5 in the afternoon right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great episode. Yeah. I mean, the great mediocre episode.
We've got a couple of news items to talk about. Up top, we're going to be talking about the NewJeans scandal, controversy situation that's happening. We're also going to talk about, on lighter news, Shogun winning big at the Emmys and some mini reviews of a couple of movies that you've seen before getting to the main review of today's episode, which is Terminator Zero, an anime based off the Terminator series.
Yeah, it's just Terminator. You don't have to katakana-rize it or whatever you call it. So
Yeah, all right. Terminator Zero, mate. It's called
Terminator Zero. Terminator Zero. Fucking Sarah Connor.
You sound just like Sam Worthington in that Terminator movie everyone forgot about.
Oh, the Salvation. Yeah, that movie. Only the meltdown is memorable from that movie. The meltdown that wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah.
The famous Christian Bale.
It's a very funny meltdown, though, in fairness.
It is.
Good for you. Yeah. It's good. All right. Shall we talk about NewJeans, Tavi?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was like sleeping one night and I woke up and I checked my phone and then I got a message from our resident Ming.
Yeah.
And it was just a link. It was just a link, like a long. You know when you share those links.
I would think twice before clicking a link received from Ming of Tsucha fame. I've seen their Instagram page.
Yeah. For those who don't know, this is they're our good friends who did the score for one of our favorite horror films, The Sadness. But anyway, I'm saying what is this? And I wasn't gonna read it because I was like, it was like 4 in the morning or something. And I click on it and it's just like a bunch of Korean in like that kind of Reddit format, like it was just text. I'm like, what is this? Like, what are you sending me?
Yeah.
And then I see that it's stuff that's been translated. And then as I was reading through it in my kind of obviously very fatigued state, I realized that it was a translation of a live stream that NewJeans had done, which I hadn't seen at that point. I didn't even know it was a live stream. I thought it was just an article or something. And it was a translation of the NewJeans members themselves who have finally spoken up about the whole Min Hee-jin and HYBE situation. And it's pretty scandalous stuff, man. Like my get was that Honey was talking about, I think she wanted to say hi to like another group or something, but their manager was like, don't talk to them.
Yeah.
So they said like, don't associate with NewJeans. And basically I think Honey took that to the CEO or something, and they just like, yeah, don't worry about it, and they just ignored it, and nothing became of it. And of course, this is following all the drama between HYBE and Min Hee-jin, in which she finally got the can. She got kicked out.
The boot. Yeah.
Got the boot. Yeah, and I guess the TLDR is that NewJeans basically don't want to just follow HYBE blindly, and they want Min Hee-jin back. But like a lot of it is just like, man, I kind of knew it is like corporate warfare to the point where I think Danielle said like when their songs came out this year, there was basically no marketing behind them.
Right.
It was only just slander articles. And as a company, as much of a conglomerate as HYBE is and how much money they would want to make, that's not really like a wise move to do. To like have your biggest export or your second biggest export, because yeah, a BTS is their main export, to not promote it and then to just like slander one of your, you know, more beloved newer groups.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, there's ego shit going on.
Oh, definitely.
And like I've stayed away from a lot of this stuff because like I don't enjoy reading it because it just gives me a headache. I'm just like, oh,
it's very messy, very convoluted.
It is, yeah.
But and it is pretty hard to get unbiased reporting in the world of K-pop as well.
Yeah,
Every story is kind of different depending on who you ask. So yeah, like yourself, I have also kind of stayed away from it and just kind of gotten the bullet points, trying to make my own opinion based on, you know, looking in from the outside, I guess. Because, you know, we're not the hugest NewJeans fans. I wouldn't say that we are bunnies, but we like their music.
Oh, I quite like NewJeans.
Yeah.
I'd go see them.
Obviously, they have done a lot of good things in the world of K-pop. And yeah, I mean, Min Hee-jin is a huge part of their success, being their, you know, creative director for their entire career, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it basically just looks like corporate greed, just ruining art for both the fans and for the young artists in question.
I think what really pissed me off though, and this was before the live stream, was when they kicked Min Hee-jin out, they appointed a new CEO. And it's just like the most fucking corporate looking
name? Is it?
I don't know. She's just a corporate. It's just she looks like a stock photo of a corporate person.
Okay.
I don't even think she's a real person, to be honest.
It's an avatar.
She's a real person. I think it is an AI photo. Print me smart looking Korean lady, and then that's what they got.
Yep.
But also, I think they were working with another artist who did all their video stuff, their visual stuff, who had nothing to do with any of the drama.
This is Derek G? Is that?
Yeah, is that his name? Yeah. They removed all of the behind the scenes shit, and they removed like a lot of the extra stuff that he shot for them to like document like how their vision came about. And that like really pissed me off. That's where it's like almost unforgivable to a point, because I think NewJeans were probably doing something that K-pop has kind of been lacking, which is like sort of a new sound, and like to just shit on what you've created, like what HYBE is doing.
Just out of pure spite and ego as well.
Out of pure spite, yeah. And it's like, it's not good for anyone, because you're not making money off this group that is worth, you know, millions. And they have like massive international appeal, and they've got appeal amongst all the ages as well. You've got the Gen Z crowd, and you got us like older millennial people. When Ming talks about some of his like some jazz people that he's met, they actually quite like NewJeans, like basically Gen Xers, you know. Maybe some boomers, I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone had really criticized them that much until all this shit came about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just confused. Like, there's a lot of HYBE acolytes and a lot of Min Hee-jin haters. So a lot of the claims is like grooming or some shit. Yeah, but like I don't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main issue that Min Hee-jin has pissed off a lot of people along the way in defending herself. she seems to have
Yeah.
pissed off a lot of people. And I think a lot of it is HYBE just like smearing her as well, just bringing up shit
Yeah.
that she's said out of context. Shit that kind of makes it seem like she hates on BTS, maybe. I think the armies have gotten involved. So like if you look at any posts about this situation, a lot of the comments are just like negative towards Min Hee-jin. Stuff like saying that she's using NewJeans to kind of further her own.
She's using and
ends.
she's grooming
She's
them.
grooming them,
but it's
things like
but
that.
it's like, what do you mean? It's just an older lady who's working with them, right? It's,
the members themselves are defending Min Hee-jin. The families of NewJeans members are defending Min Hee-jin. So like you can't really say that she's the bad guy in this situation. Like maybe she has done some stuff here and there, but clearly it's just a big corporation trying to get rid of this one lady and using everything in their power to make her look bad. And it seems to be working for a lot of people.
It's working,
which is kind of
it really
sad.
it really feels like I'm watching like a K-drama, like where there's these really unlikable like men in suits. Because I mean, you and I, we've talked off air about it, and it's partly, I think, because Min Hee-jin is a woman, and a woman with with opinions, with like maybe more of a Western view of things. Because I was talking to Ming like the next day, I'm like, is Min Hee-jin actually like a bad person? Like, because when I was reading all this shit, like, did she do something that because I don't follow the news, so like, I don't know, is she actually a groomer or something? But Ming, who so like endearingly combs the K-pop Reddit forums for me, so I don't have to do it. Like he gave me the lowdown. It's basically, it just stems from Min Hee-jin's SM days, which I think he told us, where she was a bit like, she was known as the crazy lady, but crazy is just outspoken, right? And the grooming thing, just like they think it's weird that an older lady is hanging out with like young girls. Yeah. So that's the whole grooming thing. So all the hatred stems from that.
It's just propaganda, basically. And that's the power of propaganda, because it does have a convincing effect on the masses. So, but a case that to me, looking from the outside in, seems pretty cut and dry. It's been really convoluted. Like I even had to read a lot of shit just to get ready for this recording, and it's really convoluted, the shit that's going on. But I mean, at the end of the day, NewJeans themselves have delivered this ultimatum to HYBE, where they want Min Hee-jin reinstated by September 25th, which will probably be the day that this episode goes out. So I don't know if we're going to record anything based on the results of that ultimatum, because I really don't think HYBE is going to reinstate Min Hee-jin.
No way, no way.
So, I mean, the options for them from there, people are speculating that they're probably going to try to get out of their contract with HYBE with litigation, I guess. Because they have mentioned during their live stream that, you know, their content has been infringed. So they might have a case. I don't really know. But, you know, if they win the case, then the good thing is they'll be able to sign on with whatever label they want, basically. If they lose the case, then they'll probably have to end up paying a lot of money to break off their contract.
Yeah, I reckon HYBE just won't let them go, just out of spite.
Oh, definitely.
They'll be like, well,
definitely. They'd
like,
rather get paid to break the deal than to not get paid, right? So
no, I don't think HYBE will even like let them like. They'd obviously have to let them pay to break their contracts, but I reckon HYBE will just keep them.
Yeah, they're not gonna make it easy for them. That's for sure.
Nah, yeah.
But you know, I think these girls are pretty passionate, and I think Min Hee-jin is pretty passionate. I don't know if this whole scandal has destroyed her passion for making music, but I think once all of this blows over, maybe they'll still have the juice to keep going. And I hope they do, because they're pretty good.
Yeah. Because the songs they've released this year, they're pretty good.
Yeah, and even in the midst of the scandal, like they've not done too badly. They're not like top in the charts or anything, but they've
dropped off a lot though. Like rank, and it just sucks because it's just like there's so much bullshit.
I will say that props to NewJeans for sticking up for their beliefs.
Yeah,
because it's it's probably really hard to do that in K-pop. Like, based on what we've seen happen in the past, based on what we know about the industry, which admittedly is not all that much.
Nah, not that much, yeah.
You know, for a group of young girls to speak up against a big corporation like HYBE and put their necks on the line to protect this person that, you know, they respect, that is pretty good.
Yeah, that's admirable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, some of the comments are just like, Min Hee-jin brainwashed them or something. It's just like, yeah.
Sure.
I just had to Edward Norton close my laptop. It's like, you guys, man, couldn't handle it. Just like, I just had to go do something else, you know. I just went and did something else.
Yeah.
I was like,
It is frustrating to read the comment section on
like,
these kinds of videos.
It should be just about like the music, right, and the artists, even though I've said, yeah, K-pop is mainly a visual thing, but these artists that work, like, they don't, I mean, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Maybe some groups hate the shit out of each other, but generally there's not really much point like pitting artists against other artists, especially within your own company. Like, you're just damaging your own company.
Yep.
But I think there comes to a point where, yeah, it's just a war within the own company, but just of egos. Like, some dude is just jealous that NewJeans was the more popular group than whatever the group that HYBE wanted to be popular. And they're just like, well, fuck this woman, fucking Min Hee-jin, let's get her the fuck out of here.
And on that note, BTS themselves might be in NewJeans' corner on this one.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, Jungkook uploaded a photo of his dog, Bam, to Bam's Instagram account, accompanied by the caption, "Artists are not guilty," followed by 5 different colored emoji hearts that fans are speculating correspond with the hues that NewJeans members use to represent themselves.
Well, good on him, man. I think they needed someone like Beats, like
just somebody to say, "Calm down, guys."
Yeah.
just chill.
just make music, man. just make fucking music.
Yeah.
Just make cool shit. Like, you got something good, and if you fucking ruin it, like, you're just a bunch of dumbasses at this point. Like, yeah. I mean, like Honey said something like, "This is the artist company." Like, is it really? You're just like basically destroying art, you know?
Yep.
It's just, yeah. Fuck, man.
Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. But you know, hopefully they recover and they'll be fine. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
All right, shall we move along?
Yeah, lighter news.
Yeah, let's go lighter news. Shogun wins.
Yeah, they won basically everything.
An unprecedented 18 Emmy Awards. Which is a big time win. So I'm not gonna list all of the awards, but you know, the big ones of note are, of course, Hiroyuki Sanada's win for Best Lead Actor in a Dramatic Series, which is a first for a Japanese actor. And his co-star Anna Sawai won Best Actress in a Dramatic Series, which is also a first for Japan.
Isn't it a first for Asians in general, is what I heard?
Could be. I don't know. I've only seen first for Japan, which, pretty good too. So, good. It's a good show.
Yeah, no, good on it. It's a good show.
Yeah.
No, I was really thrilled when I heard that. Get to look forward to more sexy voice Anna Sawai. I mean, cause I know Lady Mariko is obviously not a character in the series anymore, but I guess I can watch. Season 2 of Pachinko's out at the moment, so she's in that. Should give that a watch. Actually, that's a good show.
You can watch Fast and the Furious 9 again, Tab, or maybe it's 8. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, I hope that because I know there is a subsect of Asian American YouTubers and stuff who like to celebrate anything that Asians do, but for some reason they're kind of quiet about this. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, it's interesting.
It's like because at first, like, there was just so much. This might be straying from the topic a bit, and might make it less light. But I was getting really annoyed about the celebration of, I think her name is Jen Tran, being the first Asian bachelorette.
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
big news as well, I guess.
Like, what? It's not big news though.
Go on, Tommy. A lot of people like watching The Bachelor.
Why do people care so much about such a mediocre show? I remember seeing this one fucking this shot on YouTube where like these women were losing their shit, just like screaming when she was announced. I'm like, I mean, yeah, no, I'll just embrace my snobbiness.
Yeah, go for it. Go full snob.
Just I mean, I think you need to watch more stuff. I don't know, maybe Nat will have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But in Australia, The Bachelorette and Bachelor has been cancelled due to low ratings.
Oh, okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
And we love reality TV here.
Why is everyone so fixated on The Bachelor? I don't understand.
Well,
But anyway, good on Shogun.
I'm sure a lot of people like The Bachelor. I have never seen The Bachelor in my whole life, so I cannot comment on it. But I'm more impressed with this win from Shogun. I will say that.
I just hope that people actually talk about this. I know some people are. Maybe people are still making content about it.
I think it's done well. Shogun must have been watched a lot for this to have happened.
Yeah. I no, actually, like, to be fair, there was, like, when Shogun was at its, like, peak popularity, there was a lot of talk about it amongst that community. But for some reason, they're kind of, like, a bit silent about it. Or maybe I just haven't seen... I don't know, because I'm sure I've, like, chucked in Shogun in the algorithm recently. But, like, I haven't seen... anything about it, like,
Just keeps bringing you to The Bachelor for some reason.
yeah, like, oh my god, like, why, like, just, yeah, the Bachelor this, the Bachelor that. And apparently, like, well, that show's finished now, and, like, whoever she ended up with, they already, like, broke it off, like, pretty much immediately after the show.
I mean, that's how those shows usually go, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you should care about, like, better representation. Like, in
Let's just say we will not be covering this season of The Bachelor on this podcast.
Bachelor. Man, well, I'm so scatterbrained today. Like, we're supposed to be celebrating Shogun.
Yeah, no, good.
And I'm sure people who've clicked on an episode about the Terminators, I don't want to hear about fucking The Bachelor and NewJeans.
Yeah, good on your Shogun. I think it is good that this show has gotten a lot of recognition, because this is what we want to see in terms of high production of Hollywood combined with a Japanese team,
Asian
I
culture.
guess.
Yeah. It's a good mix. Yeah.
This is how we want Asian culture to be represented, with care and attention.
With care and attention and with passion as well. Yeah. It's deserved. Yeah. So, good on your Shogun. I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to a season 2, because the first season was supposed to be a limited.
Well, I'll watch it for Cosmo Jarvis.
Yeah. And I liked Anna's speech. She gave a big thanks to Cosmo, like, specifically Cosmo.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I think he deserved a little bit of
I like his
recognition
portrayal
as well.
of Blackthorn, even though he didn't get any nominations.
Yeah, should have got a nomination for that, man. It's the best in.
It's a very good
Yeah. No, but it did win a lot. It won a lot of technical. Obviously, it won 18 Emmys. And obviously, would have won a lot of technical awards.
Yep. Yep. All right, shall we move along?
Well, to keep it in theme with the whole AI thing, and I think by this point, I talked about having a bit of a bad movie binge.
I forgot you watched this movie.
I watched one of the most mid movies of the year. It's probably one of the worst movies I've seen this year. It's called Afraid, but the AI is like capitalized. So I'm not sure if it's called Afraid AI or something, or like Afraid. But yeah, it has John Cho in it. That's the only actor that I know. But yeah, it's got people in it.
Yeah, and an AI, a killer AI.
No, wait.
Right?
It does have David Desmalchian in it, who was quite a surprise.
Okay,
yeah. I was like, oh, that was nice. Yeah, but it's just a killer AI kind of thing. It's basically a haunted Alexa. And when I saw the trailers for this movie, I'm like, man, this looks so bad.
Yeah.
And then like that evening, I went with the son, man, when we watched the Crow remake. It was $5 movies, and we're just like, yeah, let's just fucking make a day out of it. And this was the first came off the rank, and it was the worst movie of the day. It was the worst one of the day. It's got really like obvious themes.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there's something about watching a horror movie with the epping crowd, because they're a bit more, how do I say this, like working class?
Yeah.
Like not necessarily a cinema-going demographic of people. So people tend to talk a bit more during these kind of lower budget horror movies. There are a lot of people who are just like taking their kids, and like there was a couple like girls behind us who were like pretty scared. They're like, oh, you gotta, I'll close your eyes during like all the scary stuff. and then it's like, oh, that's kind of cute because it's a horror movie. So, like, the only benefit you get from watching a movie like this is if you are not used to horror and you kind of want to ease someone into it at a very young age, yeah, sure, this movie can be a little bit scary, but it's just...
Is it PG-13, this movie?
Yeah, it's PG-13.
Okay.
It's so low impact. Like, the scares are low impact. It, like, doesn't really know what it wants to be, because at a point, the AI actually is a ghost.
Oh, okay.
But then it's, like, take us over the internet, but then it has, like, it has control of people that aren't connected to a network at some points.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, yeah, that's fine, whatever.
It's just whatever.
And then there's a cult in there somewhere as well. So it's just like all these things and like maybe like one jump scare. No, there's like two. And it's just a typical like looking at the Amazon Ring cam and then a face goes blur. And it's just like, oh, cool.
When I saw the trailer for this, there was nothing that made me want to watch this movie. It looked like Mithrigan without the personality, I guess.
Yeah. I wanted to make a comment about like Blumhouse, who are starting this trend of very like low impact horror movies.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure I like.
I don't think it's a deal breaker for me, as long as the idea and execution is good still. Like, for example, The Invisible Man was quite good.
Yeah.
And that's not like a violent film, but, you know, it's well executed and it's tense.
But I think low impact is like, there's not that much horror. Like Mithrigan didn't have very much horror in it. Had some violence, but Mithrigan was like the starting point where they were really toning it down. And then I watched Night Swim earlier this year. I fell asleep. Yeah, I don't know. Like
They've got that remake of Speak No Evil with that James McAvoy version.
Yeah, that's still got the impact. I've heard. I haven't seen the original or the remake, but from the reviews that I've heard, it's like it's fine, but it just lacks the impact of the original one, which is just like, yeah. I mean, when I see the Blumhouse logo, I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of expected, which is sad. Like you're supposed to be like a horror thing. You know, you're supposed to scare people. That's why you're making these movies, right?
Yeah.
People love that shit, but yeah, like I don't know, things are just a little bit too soft.
Oh, they did the Black Phone.
Yeah, the Black Phone is good. Yeah, I like the Black Phone. It's one of their better. One of their better movies. There
Also, not that
that was
violent.
Blumhouse,
Yeah, I guess it's pretty scary sometimes.
I don't
know. I
It's
feel
pretty
like
scary.
sometimes they can get the balance right, but you're right. I think that they are pretty watered down in the realm of horror, right? And I think like that has its audience as well, though, because some people, you know, they want to watch a horror movie, but they don't want to be absolutely scarred for life, you know? So
Nah, fuck that. Just be traumatized. People are too worried about being traumatized.
it's kind of like a horror production company for kids, I guess. Which,
Nah. Make your shit scary, man. A good horror is like when I'm like wincing my eye to like not look at the scary thing. That's what I know. Yeah, you've done your job pretty well. When I'm like feeling scared and like, sure, I don't like losing a night's sleep, but if I am that unsettled from your horror movie, then you've done your job properly. If I watch a horror movie and then I never think about it again, or if I'm not like looking in the dark and like seeing things in a silhouette, then you haven't done your job properly. That's what I
well,
should
it
seek
seems
in a
like they
horror.
make a lot of films. I'm just looking at their website, and the films on their main page are Speak No Evil, Frey ID,
Frey ID, yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's,
Oh yeah, that's
Imaginary,
yeah.
and Night Swim. So yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
not a good
Imaginary.
track record, I guess.
Yeah, not a great track record. No, you see what I mean. Yeah, I completely forgot about those movies, Five Nights at Freddy and Imaginary. Yeah,
but they've got
They're
some
pretty garbage,
good ones in the whole list. When I look back at like what they've done previously, they've got stuff like Black Christmas. They got Creep 2. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Like I knew Afraid wasn't gonna be that scary, but at least get your themes. Like it's just like, ooh, the AI is watching you. Like how much control is it? It's just like, yeah.
I feel like the idea itself is not interesting. So like, well, how is it going to make an interesting movie? You know,
there's a TV series I watched. This was on Disney Plus, actually. And probably the most underrated series of recent memory, I think. And this is the other show I kind of wanted to touch on briefly. It's called Devs.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that's a show that does sci-fi themes really, really well. It's kind of a show that the less you know about it, the better. And it's also got Sonoya Mizuno in it.
We'll talk about a bit later.
Yeah. It's not a very happy show. It's actually not particularly violent either, but it's just so full of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it basically plays on the theme about free will, and there's kind of a mislead in the first 2 episodes, but yeah, a lot of it is Alex Garland's mood. Because you know how sometimes they complain about TV shows that look like they've just had that Netflix filter, and it just looks quite cheap.
Is that a complaint that's unique to us? I feel like other people don't complain about that.
I think it's unique to us, or unique to people that maybe watch movies. But it's just it didn't look cheap. There's a lot of thought that is placed into every shot, and I can't really if I was to give a brief synopsis. It would kind of ruin the sort of surprise of the show.
Sure.
Yeah. So I won't talk too much about it, but you'll think about it after you finish watching it.
Yeah.
Some pretty good contemplative themes in there. And in terms of, this is not a horror show, but there are some moments in this show that are very unsettling and kind of scary. And there's no ghosts or anything in it, but it's just the way that it's done. It's actually that's kind of scary. So I was I was quite surprised. I think, that's just when you watch auteur stuff, it's good. Yeah.
I guess on the flip side, though, you did mention that you like to go see kind of horror B movies at Epping Cinema.
Yeah,
and I think, there's a mood to it, right? And I think that it's an experience unto itself, different from watching an auteur product, but...
To be fair,
there are good aspects to it, I guess, and people enjoy them. They enjoy shitting on them afterwards as well, I reckon. So I think this is the void that Blumhouse is kind of filling. It's low impact horror that is easy to watch and easy to make fun of, I guess.
The Nun one is probably one of the worst movies I've seen in a theater, but also one of the best experiences I've had in a theater as well. It was just I had a lot of fun watching that movie. Yeah. Just a lot of people going, oh my God, and and a lot of people prepubescent boys screaming and their voice cracking. Yeah, just for a fried, just put in jump scares. It's fine. I might not like it, but at least try to scare someone else or something.
I guess so.
Just try to scare me.
But it can be exhausting as well if you just try to shoehorn in jump scares. We talked about this in Maya. We talked about that movie. Yeah. There's an art even to jump scares, I would say.
I guess so. There's art of building up stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Don't watch A Fried. I don't think many... I think it's actually the lowest performing Blumhouse release ever released, apparently. But go watch Devs. Devs is really good. Okay. Pretty short miniseries, 8 episodes. Yeah, you're probably not going to feel that great watching it, but I think it's a good show. It's definitely worth watching for some actually good sci-fi themes. But speaking of sci-fi, let's jump into it. Yeah, okay. I think the people want to hear what they clicked on, right?
Terminator Zero.
Terminator Zero.
So this is an anime on Netflix. Science fiction action anime miniseries developed by Mattson Tomlin. It's set in the Terminator universe. It's 8 episodes, and the animation services were provided by Production I.G under the direction of Masashi Kudō, who is famous for his work on Bleach. Yeah, kind of a separate series to the Terminator movies. So it doesn't have John Connor in it, doesn't have Sarah Connor in it. They're not even mentioned, I think, in the show.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, it's true.
So we'll talk about this show non-spoilers and give you a spoiler warning before we talk spoilers. But if you want to, of course, go into it fresh, maybe go watch it before coming back to this episode. So just a little bit of the plot. So instead of John Connor and Sarah Connor, the main character in this series is Malcolm Lee, who is living in 1997 Tokyo, and he is developing an AI system called Kokoro, which is intended to compete with Skynet. The day before Judgment Day, Lee finds himself and his 3 children pursued by an unknown robot assassin, who is, of course, a Terminator that has been sent back in time to get him. Of course, there's also a mysterious soldier sent back in time as well, seemingly to protect him.
So it's a Terminator story.
It's a Terminator.
It is through and through. It's a Terminator
in
story.
Tokyo.
It's a Terminator in Tokyo, and it's an anime. I actually really enjoyed this show. I thought it was a really fun show.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by the violence in this show, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be like aimed at like an R-rated kind of feel or like an MA-rated feel.
Yeah.
Because the Terminator movies themselves, I guess you would consider them violent, but they're not like gory.
They're not anime violent.
Yeah.
When people get shot in Terminator, it's not like a massive blood spray.
Yeah.
In fact, there might not be that much blood in general. I think you see the blood after the fact mostly.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about the more recent ones because
I've seen all of them, Tavi. They're weak.
You've seen all of them.
Piss, Tavi. They get weaker with every iteration.
I love the IP, but I also like don't watch all of them. I've only
seen the good
watched-
ones, so of course you love the IP. What are you talking about, Tavi?
I've seen Terminator 2, and the best one, Salvation.
Yes.
I haven't watched any of the TV series. I haven't watched Dark Fate. I haven't watched Genesis. But I just think, as a kid, like I fucking love this franchise in terms of its character design. This is alongside me loving the Xenomorph, and I grew up admiring just the character designs of a Terminator and the Alien, and I guess I have James Cameron to thanks for that. I don't love Avatar, but you can't always strike that well, even though you made billions of those movies. But
Yeah, I mean, both Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and Aliens, it's just really masterful filmmaking as well. And iconic character designs, as you mentioned, iconic lines.
Iconic characters?
Yes, yeah. It just hit us at the right time as well, I would say.
Yeah.
So yes, I can see why the Terminator franchise would be beloved by you and by a lot of people. I quite like it as well, even though I have seen the bad ones as well. I watch them and then I kind of forget about them. And then the lasting memory is the good ones, the Terminator 2 and Terminator. And even I have a soft spot for Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines as well, because I think it's kind of just like a goofy pastiche on the older movies. But Terminator Zero, I enjoyed it as well. I think it's kind of a nice separate thing from the Terminator movies.
Would you say it seems to be the trend, and I think Romulus did this as well. It's just go back to the basics and just get what made it good, which is stalking Terminators, Soldier from the Future, sci-fi themes. Because this show, it's pretty brisk. I think what's different about it is obviously it's animated, for sure, but it is told in a very anime way.
I was gonna say
a lot of its philosophy is extremely anime, and I actually really enjoyed the philosophy of these shows because I do really like these AI themes, and it's kind of why I wanted to bring up devs as well. Because
I thought you were gonna say a Frey ID.
No, I mean a Fried is a movie that obviously didn't do it well. But Terminator, its themes are pretty renowned and almost because it's not really about AI in a sense.
More about
it
destiny,
is generally
right?
the soul
and
and destiny. Yeah, but I really because there's a couple of characters in this show that are I guess they're kind of spoilers, but it is talking about the soul of AI.
Yeah, I mean, without dropping spoilers, a large portion of the show is devoted to Malcolm Lee and Kokoro just having a debate about about humanity. So there's a shitload of philosophy in this show, and that is very anime. The way the action is presented as well is very anime. The way the characters are designed. Even though, like you said, it does kind of go back to basics in the sense that, it's a Terminator that's sent back in time. It still feels very anime. One of the main characters, especially the character of Eiko, so she is the mysterious soldier sent back in time to seemingly protect Malcolm Lee. So she she has a number of encounters with the Terminator, and like I told you while I was watching that I am kind of mixed on the show. This was while I was watching it, and I think part of it is because I had a hard time separating this show from the previous iterations of Terminator, because if Eiko did any of the stuff she does in this show to Arnie would just kill her instantly, I think. I don't think you could, like, kick him. Like, it wouldn't affect him at all. But in this show, I guess because it is anime, like, she does kind of fight him at times. And it's not as one-sided as it is in the movies, where the Terminator is kind of just an unstoppable force that you can't really combat.
I actually agree with that. She does have a lot of plot armor. She gets hurt, but I agree with that. I think there are points it's like, why wouldn't you just kill her? Why wouldn't you have just killed her? But that didn't bother me too much. I was just the opening scene is obviously Eiko running away from the Terminator. And when it's like killing like a bunch of like the soldiers and her friends, I'm like, oh damn, man, like
the gore,
crushing skulls
is spectacular, I will say.
I was honestly really surprised by the gore.
The sound design as well, it's great. A lot of splattering.
It's probably the goriest Terminator that I've ever seen. Can't compare them to the other ones, but according to your, rap on.
It's definitely the goriest Terminator product. And it's good in the sense that it is also indiscriminate violence. So, like, everybody gets killed by the Terminator. He's not avoiding innocent people in this show. He's just gunning down everyone, really. Women, children, men, everybody in the line of fire is getting killed. Which is cool to see. Like, it's something that we haven't really seen before. And I think that's another thing that kind of made it hard for me to separate this product with the original movies, because it felt like an anime, but it didn't feel like a Terminator thing, right? Even though it had Terminators in it and the storyline was basically Terminator 2, it still somehow didn't feel like a Terminator product. But I think, like, as I watched it and I just kind of like settled into just enjoying what I was seeing on screen, it mattered to me less that it wasn't like the movies, because it shouldn't be. This is an anime, and it should like lean into the anime styles and the anime tropes. So I by the end of it, I was like, man, that was excellent. I enjoyed watching that.
I was surprised, because I always felt like I am watching a Terminator show. Like, to me, it felt very Terminator, but it just has the coat of an anime.
I think the music helps a lot. The music is very Terminator. And obviously the story, because there's a shitload of anime-isms in it as well. Even the AI system that he's developed, Kokoro,
it's so fucking like
anime. Megumi,
he's
like goddess-looking thing.
It's like
this
it's
Malcolm
anime.
Lee guy is just a weeb, really. He's just
and there's a kid who's just really smart. Like, one of his sons is just like he's really good with robotics.
So he has 3 children. The youngest one is a girl, Reika. The middle child is a boy named Hiro. And the older son is Kenta. So Kenta probably gets the most play. Probably the other 2 are a bit superfluous, actually, to be honest. But Kenta is, he's the elder son. He's a genius as well. He's a bit of a robot racist as well. So he doesn't treat robots as like beings, I guess. They're just things to him. Whereas the other 2 child characters are a bit more empathetic towards robots. I do enjoy how, even though this is set in 1997, like, the robotics are kind of more advanced than they would have been at the time in the real world. So there's a kind of a layer to unreality to this. I guess. Like they have
Because they have like robot servants and stuff.
Yeah, they got
like
robot
iRobot
pets.
style.
Yeah. Very. It was very iRobot at times, which is a movie I enjoy. That's not a diss.
Yeah.
So yes, there are like robot servants walking around. They're kind of a bit janky, I guess, but they're still robots. Like. With the strength of robots, as we see later in the series. And yeah, I guess setting it in Tokyo as well, like Tokyo is always kind of seen as a bit more advanced in terms of technology. So it's not that far removed from reality, but it's far enough. And I think like in this case, the medium of animation helps as well because it helps to suspend your disbelief. Because you're watching an animated product, you're thinking, like, not everything has to be grounded in reality, I guess.
Yeah. One of the big issues I have with the show, and I'm not sure if it's the show itself, and you and I kind of figured this out, but the subtitling is a bit off, don't you think? Like, I actually wanted to watch it with the English dub to see if it was just the direct translation of the English, but I didn't have time to, which is a shame because I wanted to.
So,
it is.
Yeah, so basically it's a situation where instead of developing subtitles specific to the Japanese language, the original Japanese language, what they've done is they've just captioned the localized version of the lines. So the English dub, what they're saying acts as the subtitles for the Japanese translation. Even though it's not a one-to-one translation.
But it kind of changes the characters.
Yes.
Like, there's this old lady who's kind of like the wise old lady, and she's like, that's the fucking point. I'm like, what? She's not saying that.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty prominent character, Misaki. She's like the housemaid or housekeeper for Malcolm Lee's like kids. And she, from what I've seen in the Japanese original, is that she's that, typical, like, kind of demure, like, anime lady, who's quite, like, softly spoken.
Yep.
And then she tells, like, the kids to just run at one point. I think she just says, like, nigete.
Yeah, and she says it in that typical anime voice, nigete.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very feminine.
It's feminine, yeah. But like in the subtitles, like, get the fuck out of here! I'm like, what? She didn't say it. Like, she's not that harsh. So it's kind of like it changes like the character, and because you and I, we understand Japanese a little bit if we can pick up on this, but it just changes like the tone of the characters themselves.
I think it would be jarring even if you didn't understand Japanese, like because I reckon because it's all in the tone, right? Like. Like you mentioned the old lady character. This is at the start. So before Eiko gets sent back in time, she kind of talks to this older wise lady who's supposedly a prophet or something. And so like the English sub, and this is what she says in the English dub as well, is nobody knows what's going to happen, child. That's the fucking point. And I watched it in English, and it plays a lot better in English. Because the voice is different, whereas in the Japanese original Japanese version, she just sounds like an old lady, and what she's saying in Japanese is "sore koso ga nani yori mo juyou nano desu," which doesn't mean that's the fucking point. It means that is what's most important. So they're taking liberties a bit, and I agree. I think it is a bit lazy. To not...
I don't know why you would say that's the fucking point. Like, that's so out of character.
But it's not out of character in the English dub, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the fucking point, Tavi. So like, I can see what they've done, but it is just a time-saving measure, I think. They're like...
It's lazy.
Instead of subtitling the Japanese like directly, they've just used the captions from the English dub, which is pretty lazy, I think.
Nah, I don't agree with that at all. I heavily dislike that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's jarring.
It's gonna set precedents to like, and this happened with Squid Game when people were watching it subbed with the English caption subs because that was the default one. Even people then like picked like. No, it was mostly Korean audience were like, that's not like what they were saying. So, yeah, I don't think this show did well enough that Japanese people are going to pick up on it and kick a fuss. So they've had to make Netflix make a different sub. But yeah, it's a bit lazy. Like, I mean, how many corners are you cutting just because you can't be fucked, like, paying, you know, a few grand?
The thing is, this is a issue that only affects a small demographic of people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just watch the English dub, right? And it's fine in the English dub. I'll say the English cast is actually doing a good job for this dub.
Yeah, it's got Timothy Olyphant, it's got Rosario Dawson in it. It's got Sonoya Mizuno. That's why, because I actually quite like Sonoya Mizuno. She has a very interesting accent. Like her American accent is quite interesting to hear. It's not quite right, but it's also it's like quite soothing. I don't know. Yeah, she's cool. I like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to it.
No,
Yeah.
it sounds good in English. Yeah, and a lot of the lines make more sense in English, I guess, the way they've translated them. But yes, this problem only really affects people that want to watch the original language but can't understand it to the point where they need to read subtitles, I guess, which is us.
Yeah.
But like Japanese people wouldn't care, right? Because they don't need to read subtitles. They'll just hear the Japanese.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically it's just a problem for us, Tavi, and nobody cares
But
about us.
it's a small detail when you start like taking little liberties, like when you start like cutting out the finer details, you'll just end up making more shit, and then you'll just like sooner or later we won't even have like an original. Like everything will just be dubbed, and that's all you get because like it's like, you know, who cares, you know. But it's funny because I was actually going to watch this show in English first, but when I started watching it, I didn't feel like changing the subtitles because then it's gonna like affect everything else on my Netflix lineup. So I'm just like, no, I'll just keep watching the Japanese inspired. So yeah, I just left it that way. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't like it. It's not a big thing, but it's a big thing.
Yeah, there's just a couple of points in the show where, you know, you kind of do a double take because it's like, hey, wait, that's really out of character.
Yeah, for her to say that, yeah. But I think the show itself is still very watchable. I was going to say it's not going to change your life, but for people who might think that a fried is like the best thing that they've ever seen, because I heard some good comments from that when I was leaving the theater. I'm like, I think that was really good. It's got very time. Like, I think if you watch something like this, like the themes are handled like much better, I reckon.
Right.
I think the thing that turns people off anime is the talky philosophicalness of it sometimes. I really enjoy that. Most people like don't give a fuck, probably.
I think this show handles it pretty well. I think it is interspersed with scenes of action. And, I think it's well paced.
Yeah. Each episode is pretty intense. Yeah.
The animation is nothing to write home about, I would say, but it's not bad. But yeah, it's like not spectacular either.
There's definitely a budget constraint. It's not as like
it's not Demon Slayer.
Maybe not as good. It's not Demon Slayer. It's not even maybe Cyberpunk.
You're probably right.
It worked with Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk was really stylized, where I think this show is going more for that, like, I guess, realism look, but they couldn't really have the budget because I know it's Production I.G. Like, they've got the talent to do it. Like, if you've seen like Jinro or Ghost in the Shell, you know, that's like some of the best animation I've ever seen. But it does admittedly have that fairly typical made-for-TV anime look at points. But all in all, it didn't really bother me too much because it was pretty exciting. The characters maybe a little bit thin. Like, there's no one that's going to be as memorable as, like, you know, Sarah Connor.
I think there are too many kids. I think get rid of at least one of them, and it would have been
fine. I think they were trying to do something with, like, the girl, the daughter. I forgot her name.
Reika.
Yeah, she's got kind of a weird character shift because she's like a little girl, but then there's a point where she's like, I know about the Terminators, and then she's suddenly very determined, and it's just kind of like, when did you become like so gangster?
But then at the same time, it kind of fizzles out. Doesn't really go
fizzles
anywhere.
out. Yeah, I think they tried to put a seed of something in there, but then there just wasn't enough time to flesh it out.
Yeah.
But
No, I think
Yeah.
I think Terminator Zero, it's a new take on Terminator, and it does introduce a lot of like interesting ideas as well. It's definitely not canon, so you can kind of just
yeah.
watch it and not be affected by it. I think the Terminator canon in general is all fucked up because it is time
yeah.
travel, right?
It's time travel, and then there's been reboots and whatever, and it's like, yeah.
I think one aspect of this show in general does kind of throw the idea of canon out the window a little bit, which I don't think it's a spoiler actually. I'll just say it here anyway. They mention, and it's kind of in passing, they mention that every time you go back in time, you create a new timeline. So presumably like all the shit movies like Genesis and Salvation. Well, not Salvation because there's no time travel in that, but Genesis, Dark Fate, all that stuff. Every time somebody has been sent back in time, it's created a new timeline. So essentially, all of the Terminator movies are in their own timeline. So who's to say what is canon and what isn't? Not us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But
well, the series does end where there could be like a season 2. I'm not sure if there is. I think Terminator fans generally enjoyed the show. Like it's not the most highly rated show, but I haven't really heard anything like negative from Terminator fans about it. I think people generally quite like it.
I think the most important thing is they got the essence of Terminator down, and
I think so.
It's clear that they appreciate the source material. So even though it does go in different directions, and even though it does feel very anime at times, it's still like an enjoyable thing to watch because they got the vibe.
Yeah, it's very tense as well. Like especially there is like I guess an homage to the first Terminator, the Terminator going in and just killing all the cops and stuff. But this new Terminator, I think it has like this new weapon as like a bow and arrow or something under its sleeve. So when that shit hits people, it's quite squishy. And there's these like 2 officers that are seemingly going to have an impact to the story. They just die. The one of them gets their like skulls crushed or something. It's like, oh damn, man, that's a rough. It's
good gore.
Good gore. Yeah, really surprised by that. But I think a Terminator series doesn't need to be violent, but I think when it's done well, it makes sense because it's a pretty brutal future. All
right, shall we talk a little bit of spoilers for this show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there's only really one spoiler. It's like the big reveal.
There are a couple, I think. Couple of reveals in this show.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's true. Well, the big one for me is that, and you probably saw it coming. I saw it coming. Misaki is a Terminator, or she's a robot.
Yeah.
Like, it was really obvious as well.
I think it's well telegraphed.
It's well telegraphed. It's really obvious, but like I think it didn't really detract. Like, I think anime generally does this pretty well. Is that they tend to telegraph things well, where it's just enough that what's going to happen, but you're not sure 100%.
I think because it's well paced in a sense that the clues are there, and then quite quickly it is revealed as well that is the case. So it's not a case where like they're sprinkling clues throughout the series, and then on the last episode it's revealed, and you're just yelling at the screen the whole time.
So I knew it.
But no, she gets her arm ripped off, and then she realizes that she is a robot.
Yeah.
So, and I think the point of it is her reaction to finding out this information as well. It's quite an emotional thing for her to find out that she's a robot
and this is going back to just me like really enjoying these sci-fi themes, and it is quite relevant because we are at a point in our time in real life where AI is a thing, but I'm not sure if we're close to like say the singularity or whatever. But I just really like these themes of like what makes you human, because like you see from Kenta, he hates her at first, he's like, you're just a fucking thing, a robot or whatever.
He changes on a dime as soon as he realizes.
He changes on a dime, but like it's true, like to a point where it's like we like created you, and I think this is what Prometheus and Covenant were sort of trying to do. It's like your discussion with like your creator, like what would you say to them, and like what would make you or them like any kind of difference. And yeah, I just think these themes are just really, really interesting. And it even happens in Alien Romulus as well. It might not touch up on it as much, but it's there in the character of Andy. Like he is essentially just bullied as for being like a machine, but he has like his thoughts and he has like opinions, and they have feelings. And like it's interesting because you talk about it's essentially code and programming, right?
Yeah.
But when you are growing up as a human, like you are essentially being programmed, but just in a different manner. It's in the environment around you. It's in your friends, your parents.
Yeah. There's kind of two sides to it, I guess. Because, like Kenta, as soon as he finds out that Misaki is a robot, he starts distrusting her instantly. And then there's a point where they kind of get backed into a corner by these humans, right? Like that are going to...
that scene's pretty
try
cool.
and kill
It's pretty
them.
brutal.
Yeah, and a switch goes off, and she just like murderizes the lot of them, basically.
I was pretty surprised, actually. She's like, holy shit.
So, and up to that point, she's kind of like a Jackie Chan, like, I don't want no trouble kind of character, right? But then, so like Kenta does have a point in that she doesn't really have that much control over her actions at times because she is a machine. And like you can't really tell what is emotion and what is the illusion of emotion, I guess, from Misaki. So it is an interesting debate, and I think it's handled pretty well in this show. I think the conversation between Malcolm and Kokoro as well is quite engaging for what it is. It is engaging.
I really enjoyed those scenes. It's so fucking anime.
It is fucking anime, but it is also something that we've seen so much before, where it's humanity is worth saving, and then the AI is like, but what about war? And then you're like, actually, we might be bad, actually. So it is pretty like pre-tread ground, which I think didn't help the engagement factor in those scenes. But like I said, I think it's sprinkled throughout the show enough where it doesn't really get too tiresome. And I think as well as like the final resolution, like the final payoff of that is quite good, where Malcolm, he asks Kokoro to like trust him, and then Malcolm dies, and then Kokoro asks Kenta to trust him. So she's kind of like learned from Malcolm as well, which is what an AI would do. That's pretty cool.
There's like the initial shutdown first, which is like, ooh, that's rough. Like the Terminator has like brought Kenta to Malcolm, and it's like, I can't open the door. I love you, you're my son, but like I can't open the door. So god damn,
that's cold.
That's cold. It's for the better. Like, and it's to this point whether or not it's like because Kokoro learns from the self-sacrifice that Malcolm actually does by the end of it. He dies. But when Malcolm says like trust me, I think what he initially meant to Kokoro is that humans can make important decisions without being clouded by emotion as well. But that's exactly what Kokoro is doing. But when he eventually gets killed, like Kokoro learns that human life is a bit more like complicated than that. Like decisions shouldn't just be made based on like the most logical. Like it's complicated, and I think that's done pretty well.
I agree. I think maybe a weak point in the show is the depth of the characters, which I think maybe does make moments like when Malcolm decides to not help Kenta moments like that kind of ring a little bit hollow, because the characters' relationships are not really developed that much. I think this is a timing thing. So much is happening in the show that they didn't really have. Like Malcolm and Kenta are not really in any scenes together except for the start. So there isn't much time lent to developing the characters or their relationships. So Malcolm's death as well is kind of like, all right, whatever. And then there's a bunch of reveals as well at the end. That's like, it's kind of a lot happening. So it's revealed that Malcolm is also a time traveler. So he sent himself and Misaki back in time to stop the apocalypse by developing Kokoro. And it also is revealed that Eiko is Malcolm's mum somehow. So, which also kind of contradicts the idea of branching timelines. So, because it kind of creates a loop rather than a diverged timeline. But yeah, it's time travel shit. Who cares, really?
Yeah, who cares?
Which makes me kind of think as well that the prophet, the old lady prophet, might be an older version of Eiko, and that's why she knows kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, maybe.
Which I think is clearer in the English dub because the prophet character is a bit more rough around the edges in the English dub.
I see.
Which is more in line with Eiko's character. But that's neither here or there. I might be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good little theory. Who knows? Yeah. I think in terms of it being like, I guess it is a little bit convoluted, is that, it's 8 episodes and there is a lot of information that is just crammed. And this kind of happens a lot in, I think, TV shows in general now, or web series in general. It's like you can see the bones of a series like in the first few episodes, the first half, and then like it's done pretty well, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, we're running out of time. Let's just shove everything in there quick so everyone gets an explanation, and then it kind of loses its pacing. In this case, maybe it was too short actually, because it seems like every character in this show had a purpose, but they just did not have enough time to flesh them out.
Except for a couple of the kids, but yes.
Except for a couple of the kids. You know, maybe they had more time to flesh out the kids. Yeah, sure. So I think there is an issue with time, because sometimes like some shows don't need to be that long, but then some shows need to be shorter, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's a budget thing, because Netflix is cutting off the animation budget and making more shit like, what's that Korean show about the rich people again? All those kind of shows about the rich people, you know?
Super Rich in Korea, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's genuinely a waste of money. That's a waste of everyone's time. Yeah. Those kind of shows. No one likes being on those shows except the subjects themselves.
Yeah. But I would watch another season of this. They've left the door open for another season. Even if it's just a spin-off, I reckon. Like, I think the Terminator IP is one where you can kind of get creative about it.
Maybe it's not as like it's not as much of a canvas as the Alien series, where I guess each movie feels quite different to each other. In this case, like, they just got worse and worse.
They do kind of just do the same story, but make it worse.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. Like, the first Terminator is basically just a take on the slasher film, but with a sci-fi, skin.
Yeah.
But then, after I finished watching Terminator Zero, I watched like Terminator Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Man, that's a fucking good movie, man. Like, goddamn. Like, and I was telling you, like, why were franchises just so much cooler in the 90s? Why? It was just like, And this could actually just be our age, but like, Terminator, man, Predator, Aliens, it's cool. You know, it's just cool.
What have we got now?
What have we got now? Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't have much more to say about Terminator Zero, Tavi, do you?
No, not really. I think it's well worth the watch. I think there are some pretty good themes, even if some of them have been like pretty well tread. I still enjoy them. And it gives you a lot more to think about than Afraid AI. Man, this is the movie, like, so bad. Like, but yeah. Watch Terminator Zero for a much better and more fun experience, and with much more impact.
Yeah, agreed. All right, guys, but what did you think of Terminator Zero? Did you enjoy it as much as we did? Would you watch another season of this? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at 2asianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 2asianblokes to see what we're up to.
Yeah, take care, guys. Yeah, sorry for being so fucking scatterbrained today. I was all over the fucking place, man.
Don't worry, we'll get it in editing probably.
Yeah. You can just dumb it down to like 10 minutes. Like, yeah, the show's good. And then that's it.
Yeah, we've got to get at least 10 usable minutes out of this 1.5 hour recording time, surely.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Shouldn't
guys.
be too hard.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. We'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later.